Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ag Innovation News Podcast, presented by the Agricultural Utilization Research Institute of Minnesota. I'm Dan Scogan, your host for the Ag Innovation News Podcast. Guests on Ag Innovation News Podcast shed light on innovations in value-added agriculture, highlight important voices and work that's being done throughout the Minnesota ag sector, and educate the public about resources and organizations that support Minnesota agriculture. Today, we are going to welcome to the Ag Innovation News Podcast Shannon Schlecht. Shannon is AURI's Executive Director. We've had him on other podcasts as well and some of our webinars, but today we're going to be discussing the 2024 AURI New Uses Forum that's coming up in April. Shannon, welcome to the program.
Dan, it's great to be with you again today.
Boy, I was looking over your agenda for the 2024 New Uses Forum, and impressive list of speakers, of forums, of panels. We'll get into some of that here in a little bit, but let's talk about the New Uses Forum itself. Where did it come from? How long have you been doing it? What's kind of the mission of the New Uses Forum?
Thanks for that, Dan. It's a great way to kick off today's session on new uses. AURI, we're all about creating new market opportunities and developing new products and new processes. And the New Uses Forum really came about as a way for us to start to highlight value-added agricultural opportunities here across the state, the region, and the country. So it's transitioned over time of looking at what we were doing in food, bio-based, co-products, renewable energy. And we've transitioned it over time to add more of a capital and investment focus as well, as we look at different partners that are interested in the space and coming together and just providing that well-rounded perspective around how do we move great value-added ideas forward into the commercial marketplace. We started in 2017. We're to 2024. Of course, we had a little bit of a pause during the COVID years, but it's awesome to be back in person and looking forward to this event on April 9th in Mankato.
It's going to be at the Mayo Clinic Health Systems Event Center down in Mankato, as Shannon mentioned, April 9th. It's a one-day event. Shannon, I know you've worked different formats where this has been like a day-and-a-half event, a two-day event with maybe a little chance to do some networking in the evening. But this is a one-day event, and it is really going to be full.
We have a great program set up. I'm always amazed at the talent and the experts that we're able to attract for these types of events. And we are pivoting a little bit this year, Dan, as you noted. It's been a longer event in the past. This year, we decided to focus in on one sector. So historically, we've looked more broadly across value-added agriculture. This year, we're going to double down on bioindustrials and really look at what's happening in this space, the bioeconomy, biomaterials, and really call out some innovations, some opportunities, some challenges, and get a more of a defined path there in terms of what we're looking at doing and what we're seeing across the bioindustrial space. As I think about today's podcast, the USDA just came out with a report on the bioeconomy and its growth that they've seen over time as they track and look at it. They estimated, I believe it was around 490 billion in economic activity back in 2021. And that's grown over time as we look at agricultural feedstocks into these new opportunities. How do they fit? What are consumers looking for? And of course, the whole BioPreferred program that's been in existence for a number of years in different ways that states and federal government and private industry are looking at moving forward with more sustainable products through bioindustrial manufacturing.
And that is a huge price tag that they placed on that when they brought out that report. But it does really trickle down and up all the way down to the end user or the producer. So there's a lot of opportunity, I think, and we'll probably discuss that at the New Uses Forum, but a lot of opportunity for people to be a part of that success.
That's exactly right, Dan. As we look at the agricultural value chain, I think what's really exciting about the forum that we have set up this year is we are going to showcase the progression across the value chain. We'll start with looking at feedstocks and what's happening at the production level and what producers and producer organizations and service providers in that area are looking at in terms of providing a consistent feedstock and a feedstock that's desired into bioindustrial purposes. And then going all the way through from scale up entrepreneurial efforts and innovation to more established companies and collaborations to how does it all come together from a policy incentives, the frameworks that are needed, and what's happening to encourage a bio-based economy here in the upper Midwest and in Minnesota specifically. I think it's a great view across the different segments of the value chain that we're able to present and bring together with experts across all those different areas. As you said, it takes all of them working together and aligned, ensuring risk and making sure that there's that consumer pull at the end to provide these products at a value proposition that works across the marketplace.
Shannon, the title of this year's New Uses Forum is Bioindustrial Innovations and Opportunities, and two keynote addresses will be heard that day, and one right around Biomade, which we have heard about now for the last 2 or 3 years that have finally decided they are going to have a footprint in the upper Midwest, and then also a study on bioindustrial successes. Two very important keynote addresses for this group.
Thanks for calling that out, Dan. We are very excited for our two keynotes. I think right on cue with what we've been seeing and hearing and thinking about for several years is that scale up journey is just challenging and hard. And the infrastructure piece to put that in place for companies do not have to make those big investments up front, but how do you create this network of assets that can be utilized to really move things forward? Biomade's first facility will be here in Minnesota, which is very exciting to show the leadership in Minnesota and the opportunity for Minnesota to really help advance this bioindustrial manufacturing sector and scaling up new ideas through different feedstocks, through different technology needs, and the technical assistance and expertise that exists here to help move those forward. So we have Biomade's chief manufacturing officer that will share the background of Biomade, how it came to be, how they've been successful in advancing their concept and objective of creating this bioindustrial manufacturing network across the country. And then the collaborations and excitement, I think, and the interest that they've seen in that effort as they've grown their membership from the start to, I think, well over 250 participants today. So just a lot of interest from companies here in the United States of looking at that asset, looking at those needs, and coming together to really move it forward. We're really excited to have Biomade share that vision, and it's just starting now. And what will that look like into the future, and what role will Minnesota play as we advance that bioindustrial opportunity? And then our second keynote is really intriguing as well. It's one of the industry pioneers in the bio-based economy and looking at biomaterials. And we have the chief scientist from NatureWorks that will share their journey and how they got started in this space, what they've seen over their over 20 years of existence of moving forward with polylactic acid and other biomaterials, and what are the new opportunities in the bioeconomy, what were some of the challenges. Just share some of the learnings of their journey with others so that they can avoid those mistakes and hopefully accelerate their journey to the marketplace as well. So two very different keynote addresses and two very important keynote addresses as we look at what's needed and what could be to get people excited about participating and moving their ideas forward with the bioindustrial sector.
Worth the price of admission right there, I think, for those two to come to the podium and tell their stories. When I look between 8 o'clock and 6:30 in the evening, you've got some networking breaks. If people are thinking about coming in person, you're going to get an opportunity to do some networking. And then, of course, fireside chats and other speakers. Shannon, maybe you want to pick out a few that are going to be on the agenda and just tell us what the day looks like.
Several great sessions that are lined up for people to take something away from and have a chance to interact with people that are active in these different segments of the value chain, to have conversations, to see if some collaborations exist or business to business relationships as they move forward. I'm excited about, from the producer panel, of hearing what producers are thinking about and those industry associations to position themselves for the future, to that next stage, which is, I think, one of the most challenging stages. And it's one where ARI works a lot, is the scale up piece. We all know that scale up is hard because you don't have the economies of scale, but you've got this great idea that's been tested. You've worked on your value proposition. Then how do you get through that valley of death to get through to the other end and manage those risks and the capital that's needed? So we'll hear a discussion from 3 companies that have gone through that phase and are building out for commercial production, and just some of the lessons that they've learned and some of the challenges that they faced along the way. And then this whole idea of it takes an ecosystem. And we'll hear from different participants around what does collaboration mean and what is the value of collaboration as they were looking at taking their ideas forward. I think that's the space where ARI plays a very big role in terms of connecting the dots for a lot of companies. We provide some technical expertise and market expertise in terms of the readiness and different participants that groups could connect with, but just hearing it from others around who was really helpful. And as you're exploring this journey on commercialization, who else should you be connecting with, I think is really interesting in terms of looking for synergies and ideas and learnings from these different groups that are really there to participate and be helpful as we try to move these different ideas forward overall. And then we also have representatives that will talk about the bigger picture from a policies and incentives. The Department of Agriculture and Great Plains Institute that are active in those spaces. What are some of the incentive programs, some of the regulatory issues as well? and just sharing perspectives on what they're doing to help grow the bio-based economy and what support exists out there financially in terms of moving these ideas or putting those ideas to work here in the Midwest. And then finally, we all know that nothing really happens without capital. And we're always happy to partner with Compeer Financial. And this year, we're partnering with Advise Legal. They do a lot of work in that space in terms of helping identify capital sources and then hearing from these investment funds around their thesis of the bioeconomy. And all the speakers that we have for that are active. They have a thesis, they see opportunities here, and we'll hear from them in terms of how they think about their capital and how they can put it to use to help overcome some of the challenges that we'll hear throughout the day and the partners that they can be to help grow these new opportunities. As we think about this day, again, just a breadth of speakers and experts, and just such a great way to hear from industry participants as well as to network throughout the day to have those more private conversations to see what's possible.
I want to remind our listeners today that we're visiting with AURI Executive Director Shannon Schlecht. We're talking about the New Uses Forum that AURI is bringing to the Mayo Clinic Health System Event Center in Mankato on April 9th. It'll run from 8 in the morning until about 6:30 in the evening. Shannon, great agenda. Appreciate you running through that. But right in the middle of the day, AURI will be announcing their 2024 Ag Innovator of the Year. Always an exciting time. A little history on that program.
We're excited to have the Ag Innovator of the Year award be announced during the session this year. It's something that AURI has done for roughly 2 decades in terms of recognizing a new innovation, an entrepreneurial vision from a company, and the risks that they've taken to move it forward. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag in terms of who that is on the podcast today. You'll have to participate on April 9th to hear who that is. But it really gives us a chance to showcase and to highlight innovations that are happening across Minnesota and to share the story as to the risks that they took, the why in terms of they took that path, and some of the learnings that they've had along the way to show that it's possible and to hopefully motivate others to continue thinking about their ideas that they have and how they can continue to move it forward. So excited to announce that during the luncheon session at the New Uses Forum. And I think this year's innovator is really creative and they've taken some major risks to put their idea forward, and really excited to recognize them at this event and throughout the year as we think about value-added innovation and what's possible.
And typically, Shannon, these nominations for the Ag Innovator of the Year come from staff, kind of the on-the-ground, hands-on working with some of these entrepreneurs and really helping them create their innovation while at the same time watching them be innovators and having an impact on agriculture across the upper Midwest.
That's exactly right, Dan. The staff gets together. Of course, the staff sees over probably a couple hundred projects a year and lots more conversations beyond that with entrepreneurs and innovators from across the region and across the country. So the Ag Innovator of the Year is a client or a past client of ours that we've worked with, and we've seen their journey from start to where they are today. And it's always great to see the enthusiasm and excitement from staff to put forward nominees that they think are deserving of this award. And then we pull that together and think about the different nominees and share that with our board of directors, who then make the final decision who that Ag Innovator of the Year is for the given year. So yes, an exciting time for us to look back as well as think forward about where these innovations may be going in the future.
And I'll tell our listeners too, if you're going to Mankato for the New Uses Forum, you may want to check in the night before and check out the Bioindustrial Innovation Center. That used to be the Co-Products Lab in Waseca, but Shannon, there's been some work going on there and they're going to have a little open house the night before. Is that right?
That's exactly right. So we thought it was a great synergy to do a grand opening for our new Bioindustrial Innovation Center in Waseca as part of the week of innovation and new uses that we're celebrating in the second week of April. AURI is 35 years old this year, and we have a new facility or a new site that we are moving into in Waseca. So it will roughly double our footprint in terms of our pilot lab capacity and really make us, I think, much more efficient and effective in terms of providing assistance in this bioindustrial space. It'd be great to have people join us on the evening of April 8th to come take a look at the different equipment that we have, talk with our scientists and our business development directors and our staff in Waseca around what's happening there, what we've done historically, what the future looks like for providing assistance around the bioindustrial opportunities. In the past, a lot of our work really has been around circular approaches at the Waseca site, and I think that will continue to move forward as we look at just companies thinking about their different byproduct streams and what are new uses and what are ways that we can put that to use and make more environmentally friendly impacts and look at reducing carbon intensity scores for new product opportunities. So we've got our densification work, our pelleting work, We also have a decorticator as we think about fiber and the industrial hemp side. We've got drying capabilities there as well. And we also have a food grade laboratory where we can do milling and oilseed crushing as well on a small scale basis. So lots to see there as we think about the future and how that site will contribute to driving impact and new opportunities for current crops as well as future opportunities as we think about feedstocks into the bioindustrial space. And then I'll just add the final element that we've really grown in Waseca has been around renewable natural gas and anaerobic digestion work. And we do have really unique asset there in terms of a pilot-sized anaerobic digester unit that is in a semi-trailer that will be located there as well to look at scaling up different feedstocks and looking at the potential for that to produce not just renewable natural gas for energy purposes, but also digestate for either bedding or fertilizer purposes and lowering that environmental footprint for either food waste or manure or different feedstock streams that could have more value than they do today. So lots of great things to see if you're able to join us on April 8th in the evening to check out this new Bioindustrial Innovation Center. I assure you that you'll enjoy the time and hearing from our team about the work that they do and the enthusiasm that they have around providing assistance to commercialize and drive new ideas forward.
And that open house reception and tour will be from 4 till 7, the evening before that Monday, the 8th of April. And there's a little box that you can check when you register for the new uses form that lets us know that you're coming and makes it easier for us to prepare for the crowd. Registration fees are just $100 if you're coming in person or $20 if you're going to be joining us virtually. But I would really, for this one, recommend that in-person visit if you can make it happen. Shannon, we're about out of time. What do you want to leave them with today?
I think you summed it up really, really well. It's a great opportunity. It's such a great value when you think about the $100 price tag in terms of the access to the experts, the networking, just a great program that we have set up to really drive some new opportunities forward. We're super excited. I know our partners are super excited. We've got, I think, 20 sponsors that are providing assistance to keep the prices low and make sure that we can provide a top-notch professional event for those that look to attend and look to learn more about the bioindustrial economy and the bioeconomy and just driving those ideas forward. I'll just end that I hope to see you at the New Uses Forum on April 9th. Look to our website, auri.org, for more information on it and to register. And I'll just say I'd look forward to seeing everyone there. And if you do make it to the event, make sure to introduce yourself. I'd love to say hello and hear about what you're up to.
Great program, Shannon, and thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and thank you for listening to the Ag Innovation News Podcast presented by the Agricultural Utilization Research Institute of Minnesota. I want to thank my podcast crew member, Lisa Martinez. She's AURI Communications Manager, and she edits this production. To learn more about AURI, to get signed up for the New Uses Forum, go to auri.org.